Hello everyone. So the next concept what we'll be studying is interpolation or estimation of the missing rainfall data. So rainfall data whichever we have collected, sometimes there are chances due to the inadequacy of uh, any values from the rain gauge station. So there are chances that we tend to miss out any rainfall data. So how to estimate that missing rainfall data is studied here. So you can see here there are various methods to estimate or to interpolate the missing data, and the rainfall obtained from a single rain gauge station is known as point rainfall or the station rainfall. As such, we have to collect all the rainfall data from nearby rain gauge stations. So it is very important to check the data for continuity and consistency as such. So there are quite a few stations. Sometimes the records may be it may conserve some breaks in the records, that is due to the discontinuity and inconsistency, and this would be due to the absence of the observer or fault in the rain gates equipments, anything as such. So at this time, these data can be collected and estimated from the neighboring stations. So there are a number of methods to calculate this normal rainfall. It could be over a period of time, that is based on the particular date, month, or year, or a specified of 30 years. So every decade also you can check the measured rainfall if there is any inconsistency. So using these methods, the rain gauge from the neighboring rain gauge station, we can access the rainfall data, missing rainfall data. The various method used here is one is the interpolation from isoheital maps, then arithmetic average method, next is normal ratio method, then weighted average of 4 stations, and last one is the station year method. Okay, so let us take the first one. Okay, first one is the interpolation from the isoheital method. So this is a simple method. So isoheights are nothing but there's a imaginary lines which have the common rainfall value. Okay, so they're called as isoheights. So if there is any missing precipitation records, it can be interpolated directly from the isoheightal maps, which covers the period in the question. So which we have already studied here. So if there is isoheights, so from the neighboring isoheights, we can just measure the missing data. So we have studied here. Isoheights are these are called as isoheights. You can see here 110, 90, 70s. So from the neighboring isoheights, we can measure the precipitation, missed precipitation. Okay. So the next one is arithmetic mean or average method. So in this, the normal annual precipitation of the adjacent stations, that is the neighboring stations, which have an error of as in a 10%, within the 10% of the normal rainfall of the given station, then the missing data may be estimated as simple arithmetic average of rainfall at adjacent station. That is, if you want to, or if you have missed one stations, so if you have missed one station, one precipitation, say name it as X. So station is X, precipitation is P. Okay, so if you want to find precipitation at that particular station, so Px is equal to 1 divided by m into P1 plus P2 and so on up to last station, that is the surrounding station, Pm. Okay, so where Px is the missing precipitation at the given station, P1, P2, P3 are the rainfall at different stations, and M is the surrounding rain gauge stations numbers. Okay, so say if you want to measure one precipitation and surrounding, say there are some 11 stations, the 11 station. So what you Okay, so this is the arithmetic method from which we can get the data from the neighboring recording stations. Okay, Next is the normal ratio method. Okay, so in this normal ratio method, this again the normal annual rainfall at the surrounding gauges from the normal annual rainfall of the station is considered more than 10%. If it is more than 10%, we'll be considering this type of method. So if it is within 10%, see here, if the normal annual precipitation at the adjacent station are within 10%, okay, the meaning of this is, for example, if this P1, P2, P3, if these are say some 80 mm, 75 mm and 70 mm, so they are within 10% difference. So when the difference is only 10%, then you have to use average arithmetic mean method or average method. In case if the adjacent rainfall, annual rainfall, if they differ more than 10%, say one is 60, the other is 90, the other is 120. So in such cases, the difference is more than 10%. So in such cases, you have to use normal ratio method. So again, in this normal ratio method, the surrounding stations are weighed by the ratio of the normal rainfall. How do you measure the ratio is, yes, Px is the precipitation at station X. Okay, Px is the precipitation at recording station X, and the Px is given by 1 divided by M. So M is the number of rain gauges taken, that is minimum should be three rain gauge stations, and nx is the normal annual rainfall at station X. Okay, nx means normal annual rainfall at station X, and n1 is the normal annual rainfall at M surrounding gauges respectively. That means at now N1 is the surrounding gauge station, N1 station. First station, how much is the ratio that is written here? Nx is the annual rainfall at X station. N1 is the annual rainfall at first station into P1. Okay. So similarly plus Nx by N2 into P2. Okay. So on up to the last term, Nx by Nm into Pm. Okay. So if you use this formula, you'll get the missing data. Okay. So any inadequacy in the data, and more preferably if it is the precipitation, now the annual rainfall is more than 10% of the adjacent. All right. Okay, the next one is weighted average of 4 stations. Okay, again it is there itself in the name itself. So if any missing data is required at a given station, so what we'll do is adjacent 4 stations are taken. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, and 4, 4 stations. Okay, and if they're connected together, x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, x4, y4, and if they're connected together like this by means of R1, R2, R3, and R4, then the formula for this is Px. Now again, precipitation at station X is equal to 1 divided by R1 square into P1. Okay, R1 is nothing but it connects, okay, from origin to this point, where it connects from the origin to point x1, y1. Okay, so it is 1 divided by R1 square into P1 plus 1 divided by R2 square, okay, into P2. Actually here it's not written, into P2 plus 1 divided by R3 square into P3 plus 1 divided by R4 square into P4, because there are 4 stations here. So this point P, okay, P is nothing but the precipitation, okay, divided by 1 divided by R1 square plus R2 square plus R3 square plus R4 square. Okay, so this is the formula used to calculate when there is a difference. That means when there is a difference in the rainfall, and adjacent side to this is only 4 stations considered. Okay. So if they ask you, you're supposed to write all the 4 and I'll explain. Okay. All right. Next is adjustment of missing data or consistency of rainfall by double curve method. Okay. Now this is a method. This is specifically this double curve method gives us the consistency of rainfall accurately. Huh? That's why it's called as double mask curve technique, which is used to measure the inconsistency. If you have missed out any rainfall, so this gives us uh, accuracy of the inconsistency of rainfall. Okay. So the inconsistency of rainfall may happen to many reasons. First thing is shifting of the rain gauge station to a new location, then neighborhood station undergoing marked change. The other adjacent station itself is undergoing any change. Then there will be change in ecosystem due to climate such as forest fires, landslides, any natural disasters as such. And then observation error from the certain date. If you have missed out any date and if there's not observed properly, so there will be any inconsistency in measuring. Okay. At times there will be uh, if the there may be a change in the instrument from 125 to 200 rain gauge. Okay, the instrument itself is changing, so again it leads to an inconsistency. And if the rain gauge itself becomes faulty due to the wind or anything as such. All right, so, and of course, the last one, if there is an exposure condition, that if the rain gauge might get covered due to the growth of trees or tall buildings as such. So in this method, so that's why what we do is we use this double mass curve method to calculate the inconsistency. Okay. So we'll take an example as in how to measure this inconsistency. So you can see here. Okay, this is accumulated annual rainfall. Okay, that is Px goes on accumulating, and that would be in centimeter, 10 to the power 3 centimeter. So it's 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. Okay, and here it is accumulated annual rainfall of 10 station. Okay, this is annual rainfall. Okay, so there is a break in the year 1963. So in 1963, we have missed out the data in that particular year. Okay, you can see here up to 70, 69, 68, it is there. So you get a linear curve here. All right. But in 63, there is some break. Okay. It is not consistent here. Actually, if it has to be linear, it has to go straight like this. You can see this dotted line. So this curve has to be straight. But now, because there is some inconsistency, the data, so it has gone like this. You can see a 63, 62, 61, 60. It has gone like this up to this point, up to 54. Okay, so the curve is not linear. Now we have to find out what has been missed. Okay, if you notice here, so what we'll do, we'll plot this up to 54. Then from 63, there is a diversion, right? So it has to go linear like this, but it has been diverted here. So what we do here, first thing is, whatever is diverted up to this portion, we'll treat it as A. This intercept, y-intercept, will be treated like A. That is the complete maximum up to this station, collected station. Then what we do is, from 63, we just draw this line. Again, this is a linear line. We just draw this linear line as such. And up to where, up to a certain height, what we'll do is, we'll take this as, we'll mark this as point C. Okay. Then we have to measure the correction ratio. So correction ratio is nothing but MC, that is mass C, MC, this portion, divided by MA. This is correction. C means correction, A means accurate, actual. So correction divided by accurate, that is nothing but C intercept divided by A intercept will give us the correction ratio. This is how we use this method to calculate the inconsistency. So it is simple. From 63, there is a diversion. But we want this curve. We want it to be linear. So because we want it to be linear, so what if something has missed? So that's why what we'll do here is some here. This data has missed from 63 to 62. This year, some data is missed. That's why it's gone like this. So what we do is we again draw the straight line, take the correction ratio, then the actual ratio, and then we'll measure this. Okay. So this is called as the double mass curve method. So here the annual rainfall of station X are, and also average annual rainfall of group of base stations covering a long period, that is the adjacent stations, they're measured in the chronological order. That means latest record at the first entry and the oldest record at the last entry. You can see here latest is at the first entry, 70 is first, and 54 is at the end, last entry. Okay. And so what we'll do here, the values, that is summation px, are plotted against PAV. So this is px, accumulated annual rainfall, divided by year. On this is accumulated annual rainfall of the 10 stations is taken here. And then we have the same thing, what I've told you, we have written here. So if you want to find PCX is equal to PX into MC by A. So PCX is corrected PP precipitation at any time period T1 at station X. Px is the original recorded precipitation at time T1 at station X. MC is the corrected slope of double mass curve. MA is the original slope of mass curve. So M means here. So they have told you this. So A means this is this triangle, bigger triangle you should take. That is the actual mass curve, and this is corrected slope. See this small triangle, okay, corrected slope. Okay, so if you use the formula, you'll get the, if you use this formula, you'll get how much is the missed out rainfall data. So in this way, the older records are brought up to the given station, and so double mass curve is helpful in checking arithmetical errors in transferring rainfall data from one record to another record. Okay. So this is the double mass curve. Now this double mass curve is important. So whenever they ask you to write about this double mass curve, you have to draw this diagram and explain like this only. Okay. There'll be problems on this. We'll be solving the next class. Okay. The next one is hyetograph. Now hyetograph is nothing but, again, it's basically a graph which represents in the form of bar chart. You can see here, this is in the form of bar chart. So this is the y-axis, it's rainfall intensity that will be measured in centimeter per hour, and x-axis it is time in hours. So you can measure that. So basically hyetograph is a graph which is used to measure the rainfall intensity against time. And main this hyetograph is derived from the mass curve, and I've already told you it's represented in the form of bar chart. And it is a convenient way to represent the chart for of a storm, and particularly important in development of design storms to predict extreme, if there are any extreme storms that can be predicted here. And the area under the hyetograph represents total precipitation received in the period. So you can see here this chart, this whatever we draw here inside, those predict the rainfall here, annual rainfall. Okay. And the last one is the mass curve of rainfall. So mass curve of the rainfall is nothing but, it is the, again, a graph, which it's a line graph here. So it is accumulated precipitation, which is in centimeter, divided by time. So accumulated precipitation. So accumulated precipitation, this goes on increasing. Okay. And so this mass curve is for accumulated precipitation against time, plotted in the chronological order, and it's a float type, and the recording type gauges are used here. So we already studied about this, that is float type or siphons type recording station is used. And so you can see the mass curve which is shown in the figure, and this is used in extracting information on a duration and magnitude of storm. So it basically gives us how much is the duration of the storm and the magnitude of the storm. So you can see here in this graph. So at, we start from this point. So 0 to 1 day. So there will be, say, at 1 day, or half a day, there is some water which is getting accumulated. Say probably it is 1 centimeter. Then similarly at 1, you can see here, 1 day there will be some 3 centimeter of water. precipitation. Then 2 days, 4 centimeters of water. So like this, it goes on increasing. And you can see here, this can be again further divided into parts. That is first storm and second storm. So first storm is say up to say 3 or 4 days, there will be first storm. We can include it as a first storm. Then after 4 days, then you can, that means it is a second form. Means after some time it reduces. Here it is same. The storm is same. Then again it goes on increasing. So you can say this is the second phase of storm. Okay. All right. So with this, we'll finish with the module 1. So we are left with only the problems. So that will be studying in the next class. Okay. All right. That's all for today. Thank you.